Namaste. Thank you all for pressing play. Sometimes Facebook just plays it anyway, but you have sound so you can listen to me. This video I've made on a rainy day here in Melbourne. The topics being discussed are emptiness, spiritual traps, and tantra. Coming to this video in these topics, you may already have preconceptions about tantra, spirituality and emptiness. But I ask if you can please listen to my interpretations of such things, as these interpretations have come from direct experience rather than just studying books. We are all familiar with materialism, as it is seen to be a major topic of discussion washing up onto the shores of 21st century postmodern talk. But I ask how many of us are familiar with spiritualism, which we could understand as attachment to the spiritual nature of life and a denial of the material world. I tell you this, materialism is just as bad as spiritualism. Spiritualism is a trap, and by the word bad I mean limiting. So I begin by saying that those who are intoxicated by the physical display of form, supermodels and makeup, objects and things we can hold, the moon shines bright for those, and there's an intoxication with form that is a denial of the inner quality of form, which we could call energy or the sun. So, on the other hand, we have a group of people who may be swept up by spiritualism or the inner reality. This is called the trap of emptiness. What is the trap of emptiness? More importantly, how to get out of it. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhi, svaha. This is a beautiful mantra given to us by the Buddha, which literally translates to going, going, gone, having completely gone, getting outside of the conceptual mind. The mind has limitations, and therefore Buddha told us not to think of where we came from, not to think of where we're going, and to dwell eternally in the present moment. To come into meditation, sometimes one has a preconceived idea of what meditation is about, and what can be achieved. The yoga school of meditation usually says that if there are any achievements, siddhis, to let them go and allow power to return back to the river. The Buddhist school says that emptiness is the essence of not just meditation, but is the emptiness of the self and the entire nature of reality. is empty. So this is called shunyata. I sound like the Dalai Lama. Shunyata literally means emptiness, voidness, nothingness. And when we try and cling to the experience of nothingness, there is a energetic blockage which occurs. Emptiness and the fluidity of thought is a flower that comes from the cultivation of a meditative practice. Problem comes when ego returns and crystallizes around this emptiness. I put it like this, maybe I'll say it a different way. All this emptiness is so blissful. Thoughts no longer disturb me. Emotions no longer sway me. Feelings I've got under control. Now this. In the Vaishnava tradition, there is a story about Vishnu, who descended in the form of a lion. One of the people who were not open to the flow of life, a non-believer in Vishnu. He came and ripped open the chest of the heart of Narasimha to Prahlad. This is God's lion. You hold on to emptiness, it's going to weigh you down. In the Lotus Sutra, in Buddhism, the Buddha said that emptiness is form, and form is empty. So, this means that in order for me to say that this cup is empty, I have to have a reference point of what it's empty of. Because I can just as well say that this cup is full. And it's full of air. But it is empty of water. Yes, its true nature is empty. But it's also a form. So, it's like this. Form is empty and emptiness is form. If I hold on to emptiness, I'm giving emptiness a form. In other words, if my conceptual mind tries to grasp nothing, there is still the presence of the grasper. There is still the presence of the separate self holding onto nothing, holding onto emptiness, holding onto a flower, holding onto the achievements in spirituality. Remember God's lion. Buddha has said that there is no permanent self. The self is an illusion that is dependent upon the other. Just as form is dependent upon emptiness and emptiness is dependent upon form, I arise in the presence of the other. This is called shunyata. In the I Ching, hexagram 59, line 3, talks about dissolving oneself into the world. Bare non-conceptuality. When one has achieved calm abiding of mind, fruits of the practice will grow. They are not to be held upon, they are also to be let go. A few days back I performed a ritual with the full moon. I lit a candle. I went to a river. There was a gate. The gatekeeper came and blew the candle out. There was a fire hazard in the park. I relit the candle and took it to the river, and the river took it. But the water splashed it and the candle went out. So I went up to the riverbank again and asked, has anyone seen my candle? And a few people sitting by the bank had seen it and said, yes, the water took it. Very kind of them, they noticed this. Silly me for thinking that I can take something back that I've given away to the river. Clinging to emptiness is a spiritual trap. The last trap of the spiritual path, the final desire for one on the spiritual path, is the release, the moment of liberation, the moment when, well, this has come through knowing firsthand that holding on to a separate self causes suffering and is the root of all pain and ignorance. How to get rid of this little me? How to get rid of this mini-me? Well, this is where my understanding of tantra comes in, and I'll explain it to you like this. Firstly, let me begin with a poem. This is called The Ways of the World. While the ways of the world itself will eventually reveal to you the law of impermanence, best you discover it alone, behind two closed eyes. If you're taking too much time, in other words, if you're not really seeing, in fact you're blind, then expect nature's wrath to bring its tear to the sudden eyes. I tell you, I have witnessed the Tao, the Postmaster General of the here and now. Reminders and letters, immediate action required. When all things seemingly fall into place, and you're busy looking at the mirror of your own face. The ways of the world itself, perhaps for the weak-willed, calm as cross-town hurricane traffic, soul light, inner essence gets spilled. You see, I do have friends who burn the candle from both ends. I honor their honesty, and they will never return. Preserve your integrity, dance with fluidity. Precious, void, and their defenses. Access all areas, and direct all fences. The spiritual path takes the seeker into life. Spirituality, like a petal of a flower, falls away. The full moon is seen, and it lights the path for the path walker. This is Tantra. Now life begins itself to file away the crystallization of the ego. The bodhisattva returns to the world, some say delaying his own enlightenment, but the tiger hunts. Tantra is being open to the world, vulnerable to the world, living in such a fine, honest way that it is seen every experience has the potential for further awakening into this present moment. Every passing moment is a ringing bell, deeper, deeper awakening. Holding on to the void, a conception of spirituality, an idea of emptiness as an achievement. It's just further, 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 keeping you in samsara, keeping clinging to this emptiness. True emptiness is rising above the mind, the tendency of mind to cling to thoughts is something very much we need to be aware of. And with compassion, understand the nature of mind as a thinking thing. It's like a river, the river of life, the river of love. They both flow into the sea. Spirituality, step into the river and float out to the sea. We can think of Tantra as a kind of exercise. You may have the idea of karma, Krishna and Radha. We can also think of Tantra as a unity, as a unification between self and other, as a unity between individual ego and totality. And this is depicted with images of icons embracing passionately. These deities remind us of our own human potential to achieve unity. Tantra is becoming one with life so that all of life's experiences open the chest and dive into reality. Bare conceptuality. Excuse me. So, spirituality, your guru, your practice, is the raft across the shore. The other side of the shore awaits. Cross the ocean of nescience, of life and death. Look, to keep it simple, there are many Buddhist texts you can read. There are many complicated things I can say. There are many paths to go down. Hinduism, Sufism, Taoism, Buddhism, you name it. The one message I have for you, dear pathwalker, is to watch out for the conceptual traps, holding on to bliss, emptiness. These are all products of the mind and will keep you tied. Rise above. And there's also a kind of surrender that is necessary. A surrender to the fact of life. On a final note, just to confuse you even more, Buddha has stressed the importance of aimlessness in our meditation. Right, aimlessness. So, we go and sit down and do nothing. Idea is not to think of meditation as a soldier on a battlefield vicious warrior shooting down thoughts because, hey, I'm empty. Nihilism, the world is an illusion, forget about it. This also is a trap. Involvement in life is the only way to get rid of that little self, and also, this is very precious, you are helping others as a bodhisattva towards the liberation present in this very moment. Aimlessness. The skin of a snake peels away at its own time. Aimlessness. There is nothing to achieve. Aimlessness. This moment is already perfect. And you are already perfect. Many blessings on the path. I hope you can find what I am saying to be true, and that the sounds and the smells and the sights abound do not pull you down into the materialism, do not get you stuck in the spiritualism, and that there may be a tantric unity of the two. Namaste.